So today is an extremely special day. I am so excited to be here with Laura Butler, who is the Chief People Officer at TTEC. Laura, congratulations on all of the amazing things that you and TTEC have accomplished recently. I'm really grateful to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's great to talk to you.
Thanks. And the topic that we're going to talk about is just so real, and I love it so much as far as the struggle of the juggle. And I can't wait to hear your not just insights, but tips, tools, and strategies of how to manage this that I'm sure a lot of people are in fact struggling with. But before we do that, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Is there a person or a situation or what really inspired you to care about people so much and to really ascend to where you are today?
Sure. So I'm the Chief People Officer at TTEC and a mother of two, a wife, a sister, daughter, all of the things. Um, and interestingly enough, so I'm the oldest of six children. My dad took me to his office when I was younger. He was in training for telecommunications. And I from a work as like school assignment, such a weird assignment when I was younger. I think about this now because my kids have never had to do this, but I went in and I did some focus groups with his team. And it was really interesting after that. I was comparing notes with him and he knew all the things that they shared with me. And I thought they were insightful. Like, I can't believe they shared that. And we talked about what became known as psychological safety. And his, his, his note was, Laura, if you work for people like your team, then that work will grow your career. Like working for others in service of others and ensuring that they're delivering their highest outcome, matching the work, knowing what motivates them, that's what matters. And that really resonated with me on top of my mom celebrating every holiday with all the festive and fun, making sure you created great experiences and had a good time along the way. I think both of them were one of my largest influences. It's hard to say who is larger, is to say create great experiences and make sure you're always working in service of your team. And I feel both of those things led me to what ultimately was a career in HR software or in HR, both.
Yeah, I love that so much. So it sounds like they were fairly evenly weighted.
Mhm.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting. I went into the experience industry early in my career with meeting planning and creating great corporate events and experiences for people to reward, recognize, and celebrate people. And the impact of that and how teams work together and how you can use team building to really stimulate great results. Um, and that was kind of when my career was more weighted on that side, and then going into HR and being weighted around optimizing human potential and unleashing value. It's just kind of back and forth. And so, absolutely, I'm a product of both.
That's great. And a lot of times too, it's really interesting to reflect in the power that your mother had despite not maybe having a paid job. She certainly
Mhm.
had a job,
Mhm.
especially if there were six of you. She had
Yes.
I think she was kind of like running her own company, to be honest. Um,
She
uh,
actually went and funnily enough, went and got an associate's in accounting just because managing the finances with six kids was a lot. And that was pre-cell phone, and all the different kinds of new expenses parents have to juggle. But absolutely, it was a job.
Yeah, 100%. And also it's just I love that you call it out that she really helped to shape you and how successful you were today. And so thinking about your career though, a lot of times if people are just meeting you or maybe they only know you as a chief people officer, they might assume that you were born into the world, into this role, into a CXO role. But what has been the trajectory? Have there been any setbacks? Can we talk a little bit about the mindset, also being a woman in corporate and how to keep ascending with grace?
It's interesting. I had once given a talk on 10 things I knew were true and were certain about when I graduated in college and have not turned out to be. And the top one was I will never work in HR. And as first of all, never say never, but also it just highlights how roles change all the time, even if the titles don't. And so I really loved technology. I found technology fascinating and how it works. And going into software companies, oftentimes we would sell the software, and I was surprised to see why isn't it not delivering all the value and intention that the buyers initially wanted? And that was a thing called change management. And change management's about people and adoption and was the environment ready? And I really got to see firsthand the impact of culture eating strategy. The strategy could be to deploy this great new technology, but the culture does not allow that, seed to actually blossom. And so for me, I love the enabling technologies and learning about that, but without the people, it really doesn't matter. It's like having a lot of beautiful instruments and pianos and no one to play them. You really do need the people to optimize the value of any investment. And that brought me into HR. Because even if you're not in HR, you're in HR. I mean, honestly, HR is really putting together the systems and the processes that allow managers to successfully lead their teams when you think about performance and how we're managing that and compensation and all these programs. They're HR programs, but they're deployed and they're in service of what leaders need to deliver value to the company. And so HR is an enabling function. It should be an accelerating function that helps put an ecosystem in place that allows everyone to thrive in a compliant, highly regulated way. People are so important. One of my majors in college was economics, another poli-sci, and communication. Those three things really are what HR is. It's the political science, the economics, all around the labor market, really important. But ultimately, companies are there to deliver value to their customers. And how do we connect all of these things to help managers do that? So the role
Yeah.
changed. The role changed, and when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I had all the technical and then the people side, the fusing together of all of that. Led me perfectly to the position that I'm in now.
Yeah. So I think it's a good example to kind of follow your heart, follow what you're interested in, even if it maybe at the outset doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, how are these two going to come together? But you kind
Mhm.
of have to trust what you did, and it worked out so well. And I also love the analogy of having some world-class instruments, but no one around to play them. And so, if you don't mind, I'll ask you a tough question because
Yeah.
in my experience, some of the challenge, especially with female leaders that are chief people or
Mhm.
chief HR, the focus is on revenue, on growth, on the importance of
Mhm.
all these things, while not actually understanding what you just spoke about. So, have you ever been in a room with this challenge and how have
Mhm.
you maneuvered around it to help open some eyes?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've done a lot of work using a tool called Insights Discovery, and that really allows people to get self-reflection on different energies. And the four energies, just high level, red energy is the be brief, be bright, and be gone. The blue energy is give me the details. Green energy is show me you care. And yellow is involve me. And oftentimes at the executive level, you get a lot of red and blue energy. And the show me you care can be a little bit less represented. People count on the HR function often to bring that show me you care to the table, but the team needs to be open to knowing why that matters. And so leveraging the tools in HR is helping an executive team understand the value of different perspectives and ensuring that it's not just about getting the work done, but how are we getting the work done to bring those together to create a thriving culture. Keith Ferrazzi recently wrote a book, Never Lead Alone, and it's about teamship versus leadership and really co-elevating each other. And these are norms at the executive level that create the right culture. And in doing that, women and all voices get more, they're heard more velocity, et cetera. So I think that sometimes, even if, being a woman at the table, sometimes, I feel like I haven't always represented the warmth, the compassion, you sort of turn into your environment. And by creating access to that vernacular to be able to say, hey, we need to dial up some green energy here. This is all great, but how are people going to feel? And I'm not being all HR about it. I'm actually being conscious of the whole system and how are we going to be successful? Because if we release this and we're not talking about the vision and the why and the how, and we're just getting it done, irrespective of relationships, it starts to really just change the overall tone and culture. And we can get work done anywhere, honestly. It's all, especially virtually, it's easier than ever to switch jobs. The stickiness and why here is about the people and the purpose and bringing that forward and getting the executive team and all other teams to really value that the tasks are important, but the relationships are actually what will accelerate things. And I think that's been helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I love that explanation. And there also seems like there's such an ROI. I know Donna Morris is a big proponent of being kind
Mhm.
and the ROI of being kind. And so I really love that, placing the importance on the relationship piece and really making it understood that it's good business sense, not
Mhm.
just to make
Totally.
people feel good.
Well,
So,
I think I trust a lot of people say if we launch this technology, then we would be amazing. But I think the biggest accelerator in any organization is trust. And so if there's an opportunity to improve trust, that's going to speed up the organization. And how is trust developed?
mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. And it seems like that internal trust is very external facing with customers as well. Is that a
And
fair
it's
statement?
hard, over Zoom, and it's hard to develop trust when you're not getting to interact with people and day to day and see how they are and grab lunch and coffee. And I think that developing trust has to be more intentional than it's ever been.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And so when we were speaking a little bit before we went on camera, you were talking about the struggle of the juggle. So I'm wondering if you could switch gears a little bit, tell us a little bit about what you mean by that, and then also any advice that you have for people listening.
Well, I think that more than anything, we have so much to do. We have so much information to ingest on a daily basis. When I started my career, email was very new, and now it's, hundreds and hundreds, plus text, plus Teams, plus social, plus, ingesting all the information. Then we get to compare, I think about, I look at these parenting things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot to have done for a birthday. I'm like barely pulling it together. And so this comparison, which didn't exist before, which can add pressure, and then on work and competition and economy. And so how do you juggle these things? And really look, one of my favorite time organizers is Julie Morgenstern, and she wrote a book, Time to Parent, which has some meaningful tips. Never check email in the morning is my time Bible that she wrote as well. I follow her on Instagram, lots of great tidbits. But recently, I've actually used AI to help. I found I had a situation where my direct reports doubled. And so I was like, how am I going to manage all of these rocks? So here are the direct reports I have. Here's what I want to do with my physical fitness, relationship with family, etc. How should my week look? And what was amazing is AI put a whole schedule together for me. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And then I said, how will I communicate? This is what I want my week to look like to my stakeholders. And it put scripts together and everything else. And so I think AI is actually coming up as a new BFF in this practical, tangible way to put together time in an intentional way and budget it in a way that allow, because time, we can't expand it, doesn't grow, doesn't add. It's not, you can't even do with it what you can do with money is easier than what you can do with time. But being more intentional about it and producing better results, yeah, I've been really delighted with the partnership I have with AI to help with that.
So it seems like then, because everybody, like to your point, is at least kind of overwhelmed with information input and output. So I think if we can take that one nugget
Mhm.
and just do what you did and put it in and think about the main buckets in our lives, which is work, personal wellness, and relationships, and see what it comes up with, understanding that, ChatGPT or the other tools for AI, there are things that need to be noodled around and kind of edited a little bit, but to really use that tool to see if we can make the juggle seem a little bit a little bit more in control.
It's so true because too, each of us is unique in how we want to assemble our time, how our values show up in the way we spend time, and our array of those things. We may have similar jobs, there's CHROs across different companies, but that CHRO may not have the family, or that family lives in a different location. There's all sorts of things, issues maybe with caretaking responsibilities with parents or siblings or relatives. All sorts of arrays of life show up differently. And what I love about AI is this deep personalization on what it can provide as a thought partner and advice. To your point, it's not a set it and forget it. I'm going to do exactly that. That's not an intelligent use of AI, but as a critical thinking partner to go, oh yeah, okay. What about this? What if I did it this way? Or how might I address this situation? It's getting spookily better at that.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe even putting in, as you're talking, I'm thinking about the difference between my husband and I. So if I were to do this exercise, and for all of you listening, take 5 minutes, even give it a try. See, even there might be a gold nugget in there that you could try. But I'm thinking, like, for example, you might want to put in what you love and what's important to you. So, like, for example, I put in everything that you said, but I might say, in addition to exercising, I also love downtime and time to think and to be alone and to be outdoors. For example, though, my husband likes being around people 24/7. So his prompt might be something about, I love, like, how can I have more parties and be around more people? What could I do? So maybe ingest in there, to your point, a little bit about what you love or what's important to you.
And to even say, my husband loves this, I love that. What might we do together?
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
and, kind of looking at those types of things. And I actually will do the same prompt in Claude, Gemini, Chat, and Copilot. And sometimes there's some conversations one gives me better advice than another. And
Mhm.
it's just like my little digital friends, and they give some great advice to again optimize my life outside of digital, to take and elevate that in a way that allows me to have a better experience of life than I would otherwise in an intentional way. And yeah, I actually have a notepad of things about me that I use to try to help AI know. And I know there's privacy concerns and all sorts of things that come up, but I kind of, maybe I'm paranoid. I believe there's more information about me on the internet and algorithms I don't even understand. Uh, I mean, and so I don't know. Having them know that I like chocolate is exactly revolutionary, but it's helpful to restaurant recommendations, even just all the things. So I agree. Give it a shot. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's it as far as your call to action, I guess, would be to as you were talking too, I was thinking about, Jim Rohn always says you are the compilation of the five people you spend the most time with. So we're not suggesting that you replace all of your besties and your board of advisor with these things, but also perhaps having your AI digital besties separately to help, gain some wisdom and nuggets of information to help calm that jungle
One
sometimes you
one
have.
final thing on that. So Google Portrait, Kim Scott, who wrote Radical Candor, if you Google Kim Scott, Google Portrait, it'll pull up her digital clone, and you can talk with that. And if you're trying to give feedback to someone, it will actually, you can have an interactive dialogue around giving feedback using Radical Candor with Kim Scott and all of the things about Kim, and have a private digital coaching session, which has far more potential implications. It's probably worth another podcast on. But anyway, but it's a great, it's another great digital assistant. Don't replace all your friends and your people with digital people. Don't do that. But it's a good augmentation.
Yeah, I love that so much. And that's kind of where coaching is going as well. I'm glad that you brought that up. And you're right, it's a conversation for another time. But Laura, congratulations again on all of the amazing work and things that you're doing at TTEC and for spending your time here. So much wisdom shared. And I look forward to continuing to follow your journey.
Thank you. My pleasure.